Welcome back to the channel. Today we are working on the Cayman again. Yeah, you guessed it. Today we're doing some cutty stuff and there's no going back. So let's just stay tuned and we'll just get to cutting. So it's that time, the cutting time, the no going back. Well, at this point, you're pretty much at the no going back stage because you got holes drilled and some riv nuts in there. But you could technically drive it that way. And most people wouldn't see it if you just, I don't know, just put a dress up bolt or something. But no, you guessed it. Today we are cutting into the Cayman. So, as you can tell, the stock fender is right here, so that needs to be cut. Front's going to be really easy. There's no welding required on the front. Basically it's just marking where you need to cut, taking it off, cutting it, and bam, you're done. The rear, well, this one's a little more complicated. So as you can tell, and obviously this gap will go, so we need to cut a good amount. And yeah, so we got to cut the top layer off, and then once the top layer is removed, we're gonna have to cut and bend the bottom layer just to, you know, make sure that it won't rub. So how are we gonna do that today? Well, we need some tape, right? Reason we need some tape, well, it's a lot easier marking down on tape than on paint. Because I got a black marker. If I would have been bright and picked up a silver marker, then I wouldn't need the tape. But we'll do it the safe way, and we'll do it on tape. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the tape and try to put the tape on the fenders. See, we shouldn't have removed the tape when we did this the other day. Then I'd have something to write on. So yeah, let's just get onto it and put some tape. So now that we got the camera up, sort of in the spot, what we'll do is we'll just take some random little pieces and just throw it on the body of the car. That way when we use our marker, a little Sharpie, we'll be able to write on something and not just on paint that we won't be able to see. What we're doing now is trying to put the tape in the area where we think we're going to cut. So when we mark it down, and makes it easy. Now we'll just add another. I don't think you can see very well, but that's all where the stock body is. And tapey. All right, so what I like to do is I like to take my Sharpie and just go approximately where I think I need to cut, right? For the height. And just run it on the over fender. And around the same distance everywhere. Will it match 100% on each side? Probably not. Does that matter? Nope, doesn't matter at all. Because we are not gonna drive without these on. So now that I got that, approximately, so I made my line up here, right? And then all the way up, down. And here I don't need to cut in because obviously this on a Rocket Bunny folds in like that. So it just follows the contour of the wheel. So I don't need to do any cutting on this side. So that's essentially the cut that we'll need to do. So right now, let's just pop this off and see if it looks like a cut that can be done fairly easy. And if so, we'll take the grinder out. I'll be honest and say that my line, which you can see is all over the place, was not nice or pretty. So what I did, in order to make sure that the other side sort of matches, I just made this little contraption of some sort that this goes on the bottom of the quarter. And I just put my Sharpie in just this little hole. It was a full piece, but I didn't drill the hole too big enough, and then the Sharpie just broke it. But yeah, so I just do this and just run it across. So the other side will be the same thing. So at least it will match. So I think this is enough for what I need. So that's what we're gonna cut out. So I ended up redoing my tool simply because I wanted it to match on the other side. So I redid the line there. I don't know, I just felt better having both sides matching. I know, I told you guys that I'm not gonna run without the over fender, yada, 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 but I still want it to sort of match. So we got our line there. So what do you need? First off, you need these. Don't need to be yellow. I like the yellow ones, I don't know. Just makes my garage not as white because it's pretty white in here. And then you need one of these. Grinder with a new cutting wheel. Could also do it with this, but this one it's seizing up, so I gotta return it. Milwaukee, come on guys, come on guys. I think I cut a little too much with it. So let's just get at it and start cutting. So now that the top is cut up, you can see it's not hooked onto the body anymore. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a nice slit here and all the way around the bottom. The reason for that is we wanna pop this piece off, right? So we'll do that, and after that we'll need to trim. You'll see what I mean in just a few minutes. So there you go. No going back. I'm gonna cry. No, I'd cut in a Ferrari if it was a Ferrari. I don't mind. So what I'm gonna do here, there's a few methods that people have done. So a lot of people, what they do is they end up cutting this in slits, flipping it around and welding it, right? So that's an option. Another option, on certain cars you can't do it. On this one you technically could. So if you put that down here and weld it, right? So just weld it all across, grind it up, cut a nice line on it, and then that will be completed. And I'm thinking that's the way I'll go. I'm not 100% sure yet. It does affect a little bit of the body there, so might need to hammer it out just a little bit. But this might be the easiest solution. Instead of flipping stuff around, these are so close that, yeah, it's just pretty much here that'd be a little different. So if I were to cut it and pull it out, because ultimately this does not need to look super fancy or anything like that, because, well, it's being hidden anyways, right? The only reason why we're cutting this is, well, technically you can't fit a finger. If you can't fit a finger, you can't lower it more. If you can't lower it more, what's the fun in that? So, now that we got this cut, we've got to make a decision. What do? We weld it on. I think that might be the best choice. Might not. Decisions. Well, the good thing about you being on YouTube is in just a few seconds, you'll know my decision. Compared to myself, I got to think about it. So we'll catch you back, and I got to put this on the charger for a little bit. And yeah, in just a click. Well, here's what I decided to do after all. So after a little bit of thinking, because of this gap here, I didn't really want to push it in because it just moves the body, and I didn't want to mess with that. So what I did is I cut this short. I still need to trim a little more here because I don't want it this long. But essentially what's going to happen is they're going to flip up, then we'll be able to weld them. And of course it's not going to be a perfect finish here, but then again, we don't really care because of the wide body. We're not going to make it look bad, but it's not going to be the prettiest anyways. But so all of these will need to be pulled up type of deal, right? Tight, pulled up, welded, grounded, then that should tip, more than likely will work. Should. If it doesn't, then we need to start over. There ain't no starting over, it's already cut. Yeah. So as I was waiting for this camera to charge, it did take a while. I ended up taking my friend Miller out and going to town. So what I did is I just bent these up. And of course, like, don't mind the welds. They are just, I spotted them a little bit here, a little bit there, came back so I didn't warp any panels. But as you can tell now, right, you don't have any floppiness or anything, and that's how you want it. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the cutting disc and we're gonna go really close, right? Because it's all welded together. And then we'll take a flat disc and make it all as nice and pretty as we can. We're gonna, like, this is just a factory sealer. We're gonna have to take that off and then go from underneath and weld every single thing, right? So just weld, and then we'll reseal it, and then bam, we'll be ready. I don't have any sealer with me, so right now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start cutting this. So let me just clean up a little bit because I've got junk everywhere and it's just driving me nuts. So now that we got some of the stuff out of the way, we still have Mr. Grinder here, and we'll need Mr. Grinder because that is who is gonna make a bunch of noise and cut stuff. Ho, ho, ho. Who doesn't like cutting, right? I don't like cutting. Well, actually I do. So let's just start. All right, so now that this is cut, I'll go see if I have any grinding discs, hopefully, and then we can just smoothen out a little bit, and then we'll be done on this one for today. And just like that, we can put 35-inch tires and go mudding. Let's do it. So what I did is I grounded off everything. I still left, if you can see, I don't know if you can still see on camera, there's still a little bit of the weld left. Of course, you don't want to take all the meat off the bone, right? Because if you do, then next thing you know, you'll just do this, it's gonna crack. So we didn't want that. There's still a few little spots that I need to take care of. Simply it's because when I was cutting, it did a little cut. But other than that, she is all welded. So again, there is that little lip, and we still need to take care of these little spots underneath for the cuts. And then we'll put a skim of body fill on it. The reason why you put body fill on it, well, you want it smooth, right? And you can't grind everything smooth because then you're super thin sheet metal, right? So if you remove the structure, then next thing you know, if you do this, it's gonna crack. But yeah, I'm happy. This one's done. We'll have to do the other side, but now let's move on to the front. So what we'll do right now is I'll throw the wide body back on, and that way we can still have a car that looks like a car. Alrighty guys, now that the back is on, we can tell there's loads of room now, so we can drop this thing really low. So as simple as that. So we'll need to do this. It's not going to be exposed to the elements to go outside or anything at this point. So when we do the body work, that's where we're going to attack this, and that's when we paint the car. So now we move on to the front. So exact same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to put some tape. We're going to outline it and cut it. Not rocket science. It's going to be a lot easier in the front because in the front, all you really have is your fender liner, which is plastic. So you don't need to weld anything. So it's a lot quicker, a lot easier. Let's just get at it. So for the front, it's already almost touching, so I can't really fit the tape on it pretty well. So I'm just gonna lift it up a little bit just so we can put the tape on. So it'll make it a little bit easier. And that's about as high as it goes, but we should be fine to put some tape on right now. Here we are with the tape. Again, this one's not going to be as complex. Just going to put the tape on right where we need to cut. Take the inner fender off. Well, not the inner fender, just the fender off. And then we can actually just get into it right away and cut. So we'll make it a lot simpler. Again, in this, we still want to take off a decent amount because we want to lower the car. We don't want to drive it super high. And we're working on some type of a partnership right now that if it does come into fruition, or however you say it, we want to have the option to go super low, because it's going to go super low. So here we are, and we'll do the same thing as I did earlier. I'm just going to take the marker, which for some reason I always do a marker. Oh, I didn't lose it. It's still here. Okay. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to do a rough line again, like we did last time. This, and now we got a line on there. It's not going to be perfect, but we can gauge with our little handy tool how much we need to cut off. So let's remove this now. And now it's off. So we can see a little bit as to where our line is, which is ultimately in pretty much the exact same location as the other one. So just trace it like this. There. Again, we want the option to go low, right? So we need to cut a little bit. And one thing I'll show you is we will eventually need to modify the side skirts, because you know the way they wrap around, well, it's going to cause some issues. The stock fender goes to here, and these hug the wheel. Depending on what size tire you put, you get issues when you turn. All we're going to need to do is just modify this, maybe just cut in a little more, do another end cap, and just play with that. In the back we won't need to because there's loads of room, but in the front we definitely will. So yeah, that's essentially what we're going to do. We're just going to follow this line all the way down to here, and then we'll be all set. So we'll pull that wheel off, and then we can start cutting. So one thing to note on this side, it's importanter to try to keep the arch as round as possible compared to the other one, because you don't have any tabs to bend, right? So we'll, shaky a little bit there, but we'll start cutting. And there we go. Now we've got, well, other than this that I still need to put on, but we've got loads of room. Whew. I'm excited now. Shop is a mess. On the next episode, sometime soon, this LQ9 will go into something. So, big things coming up soon. But for now, I need to leave you with it. On the next episode, the body would be done as far as the wide body. On this side, for those of you who watched the previous episodes, we didn't touch this side much, but essentially it's all together. We just need to do some cutting on this side. Well, we just need to do some cutting here and on the front and this side will be at the same position as the other one. By same position, I mean in the same state. So, again guys, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment. We'll catch you on the next one. See ya.